Test, test, test. Can you hear me? All right. Guess I'll wait a couple minutes, see if people join. All right, I think we got a couple people who joined. It says 2 viewers though. It's just me and Sindel. All right, we have Logan. How's it going, Logan? All right, so working on some different terminals here. This terminal right here, I'm doing a load test of the website, and I'm trying to see if I can gather good evidence for before and after. So this main agent is making a plan and doing some work, and then when I need easy work, I'll make this agent do it. This agent is doing self-hosted Docker, which means it's trying to run work on my personal computer from GitHub. So with the self-hosted runner, if you run personal, if you personally host jobs from GitHub, you can save yourself a lot of money, because if you don't do that, you have to pay GitHub to run your work. So work could be like running tests or building the server or something like that. This one is OpenClaw. So this is kind of interesting where I'm setting up OpenClaw to control my agents on my computer, and then I'm controlling it through Slack here. So maybe not this, but where is it? I think it's in here. So here you can see, you can talk to OpenClaw, tell it to do some work, and then it'll respond right here. So this is the coding area where I'm setting it up, and then eventually I'll be able to code with it on Slack over here. So let's see if this works now. I'm also going to look at these files and be like, what is there left to do? All right, so there's a bunch of temporary files. I may not need them, so I'll be like, do I need these temporary files? All right, let's see. Okay, so I made my clone of Amazon. It's pretty cool. All right, so I can ask another agent to review the work. Let's see. Okay. My orchestration system. So the reason I'm asking a question like this is it's possible that you can tell OpenClaw to do something, and then it might do it and not follow your instructions. So what I'm asking here is I'm asking, did OpenClaw run and talk to my agent system to make the agents do the work to delegate the coding rather than have OpenClaw itself do the coding? Because OpenClaw isn't as good at coding as your normal agents like Claude Code and Codex. All right, so this is a simpler one. Yeah, this is a simpler one. So let's see, I can clean up these files. Okay. Sure, clean up the files. All right, so this this agent double checking this work is saying maybe not fully, so partially true. So this OpenClaw evidence, okay. Okay, so maybe it didn't fully understand because this is a quick model. So I'll say something like, do it end to end. I want to make sure orchestration system and the PR is the code basically. So all right, so it's like we can make the evidence better. Okay, so make a B. We'll go again. So basically, I'm gonna have this agent define some better exit criteria to be like, did this task really work, really happen, and then this will follow it, and then I'll try it again on Slack, and I'll copy and paste it in here to show how it's done. All right, so let's see. We're still waiting for this, for example. So this agent is Codex, and it's using Codex Spark, which is a model that will let you code faster, basically, or let the agent code faster. All right. This is also pretty funny. I have a script running to go to ChatGPT and do work. So let's see if the script works while we wait. All right, there's the script here. All right, did my script work? Try to log in. Yeah, if you have any questions, just talk in the chat. Want to make it like a interactive type of live stream so people can like ask me questions and I can show you things or try it out or answer. see. How's it going, Heng? Glad you can join. Yeah, Sindel Heng is Stephanie's boyfriend. All right. So this is going to be interesting. Let's see if we can automate this. So this is a website to get OpenAI to do some coding for you. And the website is kind of better than trying to do it on your computer. So I have to try to automate the website. So let's see if this works. So this is where the website command is. And then I'll say something. I think it's this one. Let's try this. Let's see if it works. All right, so it's trying to log in as me and pretend to be me. All right. Let's see if it works now. Should try to increase the screen size so you can see the screen easier. Yeah, maybe that's easier to read. All right, it says waiting for Cloudflare. So that's OpenAI's bot detection, basically. Let's see if we got it. Okay, this is still not running. You can go back to this task and see what this was doing. So this made a doc for evidence standards to be like, what rules do you want to follow to prove that the task is done? So now I go, let me clear this. What do you think about evidence standards like this? So this is the smart model, and this model is just kind of fast, but this fast model is just double checking my work. So I'm having the smart model review the sort of quick plan and see like, okay, is this pretty good? So this works well. I'm gonna say don't worry about security for now because we're just double checking stuff. So I'll say. So I'm gonna say don't worry about security for now. I just want to make sure that the work that I'm doing is working, like the simplest things. So I'm gonna explain to it Slack message to OpenClaw to the orchestration system. Added in this PR, which means this code. And then writes the code, and then so there's a bit of considerations, and these models can kind of be like, they can think of a lot of things, and sometimes you might want to just be like, okay, just worry and focus on the simple thing. So now it's working on the simpler thing right now. I'm gonna try to post this link in a few more channels, see if I get more people. Give me a second. All right. All right, how's it going, Xavier? All right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get Opus, which is the smarter model, to review a plan made by Codex, which is just a fast model to be like, how do we know that this code is really working? And the goal is I'm trying to get OpenClaw to talk to Claude Code and Codex on my computer to do work. So this is the goal. I don't want OpenClaw to try to code by itself because OpenClaw coding by itself isn't that great. So I'm instead trying to get it to talk to Claude Code on my computer and Codex. I have a bash command to just get info on my work so I don't lose track of it. So let's see. If we updated the description, it might take us a while to load. Okay. this is the phase 3 and 4. Slack message, you want to go to OpenClaw. You want to go to task poller to be like, do some work. I want to use Minimax right now as the agents because they're cheap. So it's just easier to test and stuff without paying a lot of money. All right, so there's phase 3 and 4. And then I want to make it clear to my agent I want it to do all the work. So this plan looks mostly good, but I want finished. Or are there other phases besides 3 and 4? Or will everything work? So let's see what it says now. All right, I'm gonna try to post this a bit more, see if we can get some more people. Take a picture of this. I'll post it on Snapchat, try to get some more people to join. We're live now, so I'm gonna say, post the link. All right. All right, so I posted the link. Now, let's see. All right, the PR description's misleading. Now, this is funny. So sometimes agents kind of forget about what they're doing. So I'll say, okay, I want to explain all the phases in the PR. So basically, it already did phase 1 and 2, but it forgot that it did it. So then it's just focusing on phase 3 and 4. So I want to correct it, and then I'm going to go, is there a phase 5 or later? So right now I'm just syncing up with the agent to make sure it really understands all the past work and all the future work to do. Okay, so no phase 5. Okay, so that's fine. All right, so then let's see. So what beads are 5 grand to the first people to inbox me. Happy Sunday. I'm pretty tempted, Brian. Will you really give me 5 grand? Or are you one of these bots? Probably something similar to what I'm building, right? So Brian's got a OpenClaw. So yeah, try sending him a chat. That's funny. Okay, so I'm gonna work on this. No phase 5. Now it's gonna make tasks to track everything. I should say that too. I'll pay 5 grand to whoever joins this live stream. It's funny. So this is gonna be making tasks and stuff, and the way you can usually work is you parallelize. So I'm going a little slower just because I'm explaining, but I like to go. I'll put like a checkpoint tab here, and then I'll be like, okay, these are the active work tabs, like the more important things I want to do. These are sort of, medium priority things or whatever, and then these are low priority. So for example, it's kind of funny, but my disk space just gets used up because these agents just get a lot of work done. They're doing a lot of work. So let's see. What am I going to do with my disk space, right? Blah, 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 blah. Xcode is fine. Blah, blah, blah. Something looks really obviously wrong with my disk space. Okay. So just recommend some safe things to do. So you always hear these horror stories about agents like deleting all your files. What's good about the way I set up my laptop is everything is backed up to the cloud, and the agents don't have access to my files on the cloud. So that way, even if something gets deleted, it's fine, right? So I definitely don't really recommend you give agents full access to special files that can't be deleted. So yeah. So I'll just say first find some. And especially if you're not using agents a lot, you probably don't want to just let it do everything, especially deleting files. So you might like ask it to give you a command and you look at it and run it too. All right, so this other task here, we have the plan. Beads is basically kind of like an open source library to let you make a plan. All right, so this looks pretty good. And then I'm just gonna have this other agent do it. So you can also get the agents to talk to each other. So sometimes I copy and paste, but sometimes it's a little more convenient. So I have a fork of this library called MCP Mail. MCP Mail is a library to let agents talk to each other. So I'm going to register as, say, OpenC, just because I named the tab OpenC, so it's easier for me to remember. And I'll register this one as OpenC2. All right. Okay, so tell OpenC2 to do the coding work. So you can automate this too, but this is kind of good to show for visibility. So this tab is going to tell this tab to do the work, and then you can always copy and paste, but sometimes it's better to let agents talk to each other. All right, let's just make sure it finds it. So now I'm trying to say, okay, get this agent to talk to this other agent. Let's see. All right, so this agent found this. Seems like this agent found this too. And for those who have just joined, I'm trying to get OpenClaw set up to orchestrate and work with other agents and basically delegate coding work to other agents. So let's see. All right. How's it going, Blosty? Feel free to ask any questions. Okay. All right, so it sent this message. Now I will say, read your inbox and do work. So let's watch this now. All right, so it's going to read the inbox. We've got a whole roadmap of work right here. But this agent is running GPT Codex 5.3 Spark, so it's pretty fast. It's using some special servers. Yep, that's what I'm doing. Sindel, I am. Yep. So basically, the agent on the left is smarter, and it's kind of making the plan. And then the agent on the right is doing the work. So say, I want you to... So I'm trying to say, code all of the work. Test-driven development is a technique where you write tests for your code first. Then you write the code, make sure the tests pass. So you kind of decide what it's going to do ahead of time. And it kind of makes a good plan for you with all the tests you're going to run. All right, so this usually goes pretty fast. All right, let me look at my self-hosted runners now. So these self-hosted runners are going to run tests on my computer. They're not fully working now, but I want to get them working. So as an example, you can see normally the way you set things up, this runs on a GitHub server, but it could cost you a lot of money. So because I write a lot of code, it could cost like, over $100 a month, maybe even more if you just run it all on the server, GitHub server, and GitHub charges you. So here I'm trying to run them on my computer instead of the server. All right, so let's see. Did we do this? This one is the load latency test, so I'll say something like this. Review evidence and be skeptical. So what this task is doing is it's trying to see why my web page loads very slow. So I have this web page, which is like an AI RPG. But as you can see, it kind of loads slow. I think here's the latest site. All right, that one's not as bad, right? But if you look at the other one, kind of slow. So this is the latest one. And I'll ask my agent, did you latest? And then if you do an incognito window, you can kind of see how it is without cache and stuff. Yeah. All right, sometimes my clipboard doesn't work, so I'm gonna do this. All right. Still kind of slow. So let's see. Let's see what the agent says now. Okay, didn't update the code yet. Oh, this is not the right one. It's website with the latest code. All right, so let's see what it says. Then here I'm going to say review this evidence and be skeptical. So this has evidence about its latest fix, but I'm going to ask this agent to review it. All right, and this one usually works fast, so you get a quicker answer. All right, no code changes yet. Okay, so make a PR. So PR is something that's going to save your code in the cloud, basically. All right, so make a PR. All right, so you see this came back really fast. It reviewed the evidence. Okay, so we're missing some fields, which is not terrible, but still that would be better. Performance claim, no repetition count. Okay, so it made maybe one test, but you could do some more tests. You could try to load the website multiple times. Group behavior. All right, so make beats for suggestions. These are like work items, so this can read this. Changes to the base class. So if I have a better test plan and I make changes to the base class, that means I'm going to change all the tests that run, not just one test or something. So if we make these changes, it'll help all tests in the future. Right. And then this is an agent. This is a sub-agent. So this sub-agent will review the evidence and kind of remember my instructions for the next time. So, okay, got it. Okay. Right, so we're going to give this the plan. And the way I work, I often have just one agent doing coding and then another agent checking it. So you can kind of see here, here, here. And then I am going to automate this process eventually here. So this is a PR I've been working on, on and off a little bit. I need to do some more fundamental things before I get this working. But this is called like a pair. It's going to be like some open source AI coding strategy. And what it's going to do is it's going to automate how this thing writes code and this thing checks its work. All right, so we've got these speeds done. All right, I'll say, did you do this work? Okay, this is the ops action not completed. Okay, so this says this is not done yet, so I can say, okay, do work item 3. And update So this task is for the self-hosted runner. Basically, your computer is going to host things that'll run on GitHub, which is the cloud for the code. All right. This is running the code now. All right, so this made some beads. So I'm going to have the smarter agent review the plan. Okay, so this is Opus. It's going to, no, this is Sonnet. It's going to review the plan. So maybe like the second smartest agent. This one, let's see what I was doing. Okay, I asked it to send a plan to this to do the work. So it notified, so I would be like, read messages, is the work good? So this one I'm using the mail to demonstrate it. You don't always need to use the agent mail if you just have two things talking, but if you have like one thing talking to five things, you definitely need the mail. It's a lot more convenient. But if you just copy and paste between two things, sometimes that's fine. Okay, so this says on it. All right. Ricardo, how's it going? Let me know if you have any AI questions or. All right. So yes, you said the work's done. Read messages. All right. Now let's see what it's going to do. All right, so now I'm going to review the work and run the tests. And you want the good model to review the work to make sure everything's good. This is the OpenClaw setup. This is making my web pages faster. This is running jobs on my computer instead of paying for them on the cloud to save money. This is cleaning up my disk space. A lot more simple, but whatever, you got to do it. And then, while I'm talking or streaming, I will, do a bit less in parallel because I got to talk about it. But, I'll try to do like sometimes up to 10 things in parallel if it makes sense. And I'm also trying to do this kind of stuff. So you have this Slack mirroring for the MCP Mail. It's kind of cool. You can see them talking. I'm going to make a general AI channel too. Then I can have my Slack bots working. All right. So I have some different bots. All right. Adding all the bots to the channel. So I can say something like this. What work should we do? It'll take some time for it to reply. All right. So it's saying, it thought I was asking it to do something, but I'm just inviting them. It's funny. All right, sometimes you gotta wait a minute. So this is running on my computer to say what work should we do. Let's see what this says. Okay. This also thought I wanted. All right, so blah, 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 blah. Look at. And I should tag it. So what's nice about these sort of Slack agents is when you're talking to them, it's kind of like natural language. So here's like kind of when you're in the details or whatever. But when you talk to them on Slack, it's like more high level. So especially if you're like not at your computer, you can remote desktop into your computer. I use Chrome Remote Desktop. It works pretty well. But I think it's just kind of convenient to talk to them on Slack, especially when you're not at your computer. And then, when you start some work too, it's kind of nice to start in Slack, and then you can move it here if you need to get into details. But it's kind of like a lightweight way to do work. And what's cool about these OpenClaw agents or whatever you want to call it is they're going to remember the things that you tell them. So because like, let's say I work with OpenClaw, right, and it sees all this stuff that I'm telling it to do, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's some tax thing, right? I'm like, all right, what am I supposed to do? Some of it a human needs to do because I don't give it access to all of my files or whatever, right? But, it'll remember, oh, what do you do with these tax things? The next time I need to do it, it's going to remember. So actually, it's pretty good to do your personal chores through it. But even when it comes to work, for example, you can see, all right, I'm like, not exactly sure. What should I do, right? So it goes, okay, PRs, and PRs are like your pending code reviews or whatever. What PRs have you opened in the last 24 hours? So, right, there's this page load latency. Okay, 41 seconds to less than 5 seconds. That's good. This one is already kind of in here, but I can be like, check the work, right? So I can be like, okay, OpenClaw, can you check the work? Clipboard is not working, but I'll just do this. Normally it's a lot better. Yeah, okay, there you go. All right, now my audio is back. Okay, so I have OpenClaw talking to these guys, right? This is OpenClaw here. It was looking at a bunch of PRs and it was like, all right, pick a single source of truth. OpenClaw is generally going to be better for a task like this because it's going to remember what things that you are doing. Yeah, Sindel, you were right. My audio cut off. Okay. So it's kind of better for general things like this versus this is better for like, okay, I'm focused on this task, I'm working on it. All right, so good. This is the right direction. It has some genuinely useful fixes. Okay. Scan. Sure. So sure, cherry pick it. Okay, so this one made the decision that there's some useful work in another PR, which is another sort of code change that you're going to make in the cloud. All right, this is unnecessary. Okay, so let's clean this one up. While this is working, since this is a simple thing, I can be like, okay, close this PR. And this will do it fast. I could go find it too, but it's just more convenient to do it that way. All right, and then you can kind of, read this, right? So, all right. So this says this, and then you could actually go back to OpenClaw in your Slack. You could also talk to OpenClaw here too, by the way, but talk to OpenClaw in your Slack and then go like, okay, so my coding agent said this, what do you think? Okay. So let's see what it thinks about that. All right, there's one bug. Started as perf work, but lots of unrelated changes. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So with this, I'll say, okay. And we'll put this in a new thread so it's cleaner, right? So I can say, okay, OpenClaw. So just because this thread's getting messy, there's a lot of stuff. I can tell OpenClaw, okay, make a comment on the PR, which is the code change you want to make, and give the recommendation there. Then another agent can read it. All right, what else was it saying? All right, good. Okay, so I posted a comment. So your agents can kind of just be talking to you, through Slack or through these PRs. So where's this comment? All right, that's funny. Looks like me. All right, let's go back here. Let's see what's happening. Okay. This means make my local changes go to the cloud. So they're saved there. With this, I am going, what? This is weird. All right, so this is not in the PR yet. Okay, let's commit and push. So with, all right, how's it going, Henry? Did I set the open? The model is actually Codex. So it says Claude on the left here, but that's the terminal screen. So you have to be careful because OpenClaw is actually banning people who use, not OpenClaw, Claude is actually banning people who use OpenClaw or Anthropic, and Gemini or Google is also doing it. So you have to use it with another provider like OpenAI. And you can even ask OpenClaw too. So you could be like, what's your model, right? I'm pretty sure I'm using 5.2 right now. I'll just warn people. Yeah, warning, you gotta be careful because Anthropic and Google are banning. How's it going, Liam? All right, so, okay, it's using 5.3. All right, so that's fine. So OpenAI is not gonna ban you because they bought OpenClaw, right? So they're gonna support it. All right, so I've got my self-hosted runner. Let's see what work is left. So after you do a bunch of work, I like to clear context. So you get a fresh perspective. So now I'll say review this PR, look for bugs, right? All right, same here. Do a quick review. So this this one is running 5.3 Spark, which is the fast one. You can see it right here. So review the PR, look for bugs. This should be fast, like a lot faster than this one. So you can watch this. And what is kind of interesting is you can always just get even more opinions, right? So this one is probably not needed to have that much review, but like you could be like, I also have a lot of review bots too. So like here I have CodeRabbit, Copilot. And the reason I have so many bots is like AI code still actually makes a lot of mistakes, even though, yeah, even though there is a lot of good work from the coding models, they do make a lot of mistakes. So you have like a lot of review. So I usually have something reviewing locally, like here, and I have the coder review its own work. I have another one. So you can think of it as like even 5 reviewers, maybe even more. And if you want to go even more, right, I can go like this, right? It can be like OpenClaw and Kilo review the work. So my clipboard is messed up. Test it. Okay. All right. Does it feel like an AI? Yeah. That's funny. So yeah, it's a little tricky to stream, Henry, because I think it's a little tricky to see who is coming into the convo, and then I kind of have to explain it. So like, yeah, exactly. You know how you do interviews where, whatever. You're like, oh, I'm explaining my work. So this is like that, but it's even harder because people can kind of come in and out. There's different levels. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So OpenClaw is running on my computer. Kilo is pretty interesting. Kilo is like a company that offers OpenClaw on the cloud. Um, it doesn't fully work. At least when I tried to set up, it didn't fully work. But then they just have this free agent. So I'm like, okay, I'll use something that's free, right? Why not? So that's why I have this Kilo. All right. And then pasted a comment. So sure. Right. All right. So, all right. Everything is still red. So I can go look at it myself to be like, what's wrong? Or you can always ask agents too. So blah, 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 some permissions. Okay. So now I'll be like, all right. When I say investigate CI, it means like the sort of errors in your tests and stuff. So I can have this investigate too. So when you're working with your agents, you're going to be iterating, and then sometimes you kind of want to stop after it does a few loops and it doesn't seem to like eventually succeed, and then you're going to be like, okay, what is truly wrong? So when do you need the human, right? But you may let it loop once or twice without thinking too much about it. And a lot of this can be automated, so I can show that later if people are interested. But I have automation to run this stuff too. All right, so let's see. This is a good plan. All right. All right, so I'll tell it. Code this up. This is the fast one. So, okay. Startup import regression tests. Yeah, we want to not have this happen again in the future. Okay, this thinks it's over engineered. Nice to have. All right, so this makes a benchmark. So we'll do some stuff to basically make tests and benchmarks and then rerun the load test again because I have a slow website. All right. So this is investigating. And as you can see, this one is a lot faster. All right. So let's see, what are the failing ones? And this is self-hosted runners on GitHub where I'm trying to get my tests to be running on my computer to basically save money. All right. Primary breakages. So, all right, this is the failure. So the overall thing here is like we could make fixes and stuff, but it's a little strange because the whole point of this is to not need to worry about this. So now I'll ask a more strategic question. So taking a step back. And I will ask the smart agent the same question. It's not fully working, so just do this. Yeah, it says that I'm inactive. Interesting. Okay. No, I'm definitely active. I don't know why the live stream said that. All right. Absolutely right. The question this, the self-hosted. Yeah. Are they really? So this is funny. Is it really doing the right thing, or did the AI kind of get confused and not fully do it? Okay. So now let's see. Good question. Okay. So I'm going to try to now run a script that's going to clean up and fully install this like independently. So the whole goal is like you don't want to like um, you want to have this be independent. So when you want something to run in your computer, um, it's possible your computer could have a different version of the program than what your code needs. So the whole goal here is I'm trying to make it isolated so that if I do this properly, you know, even if something is like messed up on my computer, it'll still run this. So that's the essential thing. Now I'm reading this plan. Okay. So I don't want to make changes on the old version of my self-hosted system. I only want to make it in the new version. So that's why I'm saying this. Okay. All right. Let's see if this works. So this made a quick plan, and then the smarter model is going to make it into the best plan. So I'm going to read this. Complete the migration. Yep, yep. So this kind of said something a little better. Like it told me sort of an overall answer, where this kind of said a lot of stuff. It may be a little not correct. But this one is Opus. This one is the Codex 5.3 Spark, so it has less kind of memory, if you will, or less context. All right, so now we've got this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It always gets confused about beads. So beads are convenient, but they're a little messy sometimes. So I'm going to read this plan and make sure it makes sense. So yes, this says, yes, a Docker container should contain this. This didn't say anything, so you got to trust this one. This is aligned with my knowledge versus this one. Yeah. All right, quick or real fix. And I'm going to say, let's see if this works. Okay, good. So it's also possible these guys aren't communicating as well. So I'm going to say something like this. Finish the work and talk to this agent to tell it to do the code. So even though I made a plan, I had this thing write the code, I think something kind of broke down and it didn't exactly do it right. So I'm going to now spend a bit more time to get these agents to talk to each other directly. So I think if they're talking directly, they'll actually talk to each other like humans and presumably or hopefully actually get more work done, basically, and sort of improve the quality of their work, if you will. So let's wait a bit and see how this goes. And yeah, feel free to ask me any questions. You know, doesn't have to be about this work, can be about anything. All right. While we're waiting, I can look at this one too. Let's see how it's going. So this has another plan. Okay. All right. So this made this. So this means save the code in the cloud. This means review the work. So the smart one is reviewing the dumb one's work. Okay. Now let's look at this. This is OpenClaw. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this thinks everything's good. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to say this. what this is going to do is it's going to look at the comments from the other bots on the PR, which is the code we're trying to save. So the PR, I believe, where is it? Not this one. This one. All right, so the bots like this PR. Great. So you got a bunch of bots. They're all reviewing, and you can kind of see that they actually do a lot of like comments and stuff, right? So look at CodeRabbit, right? Look at saying stuff. You got ChatGPT's bot that says stuff. Copilot, which is GitHub's bot itself. So great. We have actually passed pretty much everything. So we believe everything's working, but we will do one more quick test. So what we should do is, great. I'm going to review local files because sometimes, okay, so we should add some more. Okay. And make sure that the code on the cloud has the latest work. All right. So review. Okay. Now I say I want to do a test. So this is going to design a test where I can paste the message in Slack, then OpenClaw will talk to these agents, and then these will do work, and then we'll see if it all works end to end. And what's exciting about this, how much code is it? Okay, so let's say it's like 3,000 lines of code, right? Before AI, this would be like unheard of to like just, so like even though this PR has been open for 2 days, right? Maybe I've spent an hour of human time on it, and then it could be like 6 hours of agent time. But before AI, just making a PR or writing all this code would have probably taken, weeks to write 4,000 lines of code versus like, 1 hour of human time. So things have just changed a lot, right? All right, so this is actually one where you don't really need to read the code that much because it's just running locally, and you can be like, okay, did it actually work? Did it produce the output? So if it produces the output, you don't need to worry about it as much. And you can read these things to be like, here's a summary you're going to read. Is it actually kind of doing the right thing? Okay, wait, this is the load one. This one. Yeah. All right, so we're reading, making sure it understands everything. This is talking. Cool. Okay. Let's make sure. What's nice about Warp Terminal, the terminal I'm using, it tells you if there's local changes to push to the PR. Cool. Okay, so it says copy this. All right, so let's just do a simple one. Okay, it just wants to ping pong. Now I want to say okay, so what this test now is going to do is I'm going to try to use Minimax, which is like a cheaper version of Anthropic's AI. I want to make a clone of the Amazon website, and I want to have it all going in through Slack. So I think very likely the simple test worked. So ping pong, sure. Okay. So now I want to do the real test. Let's see if this works. Yeah, I'll wait for this. check on this too. All right, disk. Let's see. Documents. All right. Doesn't sound like something I need. Keep this. Right, so it's going to read the code and think about a good test for me to use on Slack to see if the Amazon clone really worked, or this task really worked. Okay. Need to fix tests. Great. Okay. A little strange though. So here I'm going, I guess we broke some tests, but this doesn't sound like it's similar to what this code is doing. So maybe I don't need to worry about it. We'll see. Is this main task done? Okay, it's still going. It's possible I don't really need to wait for this. Let me just see. Oh, freezing. Right, so I want to prepare the Slack message to send, make sure everything's working in the system. Oh, mission control is not running. Okay. All right, looking at the runner again. Submitting the plan. Okay, so I got a plan. Okay, so I'm gonna send to the coding, the coding model. Right, let's see if we can get this working. Okay. I'm losing my voice a bit, so I'm gonna stop the stream. Thanks for everyone coming. And I will make a post about this final thing after it works. Probably be done in 10 minutes or so. Cool. Thanks, everyone. We are ending live.